We ain't just here to feed you. Man need more than bread alone to live. We want to empower you. We want you to get up out of this chair and make a change so you can go to your own house and eat. No, they do way more than just give a plate of food.
The Arrow train had just been built and had it built a turnaround there at north of Howard, and it created so much noise pollution that the buildings near that turnaround all emptied out. And so here were the city leaders and planners saying, well, HUD's breathing down our necks telling us that we need to move our minority populations somewhere on the north side so that it's not so segregated to the south side and the west side. And lo and behold, here's all these empty buildings, voila.
My Spanish congregation agreed to help one night. And by this time, I don't have any job. So I was volunteered to cook.
They said, well, what could we do? And we basically said, well, I don't know, well, let's invent something. And they, in conversation with us, we cooked up this idea.
And then they offered me a job. So I said, yeah, I need it.
We began then to develop what became the model, which is that the suburban church partner brought a part of the meal, and we locally were able to gather the resources for kind of the core of the meal.
Which was perfect for me because I was working here, my kids was here too, so it was nice. Mm-hmm.
My father had passed away when I was 6 years old.
My father was a Holocaust survivor.
I left home as a teenager because of some violence in my house, and then I experienced
Who, as a 14-year-old, survived Auschwitz and Dachau and lost his sister and his mother.
We struggle over there so much to have our food to eat.
21 years with the job, and I had 17 years with the job.
Well, I drank a lot at one time.
My husband lost his job first, and a year later, I lost my job.
And she experienced, some horrific circumstances.
My mother died when I was 1.
From Guatemala.
And my father died when I was 3.
Found I could stay on the blue line.
Not to mention that her husband had been kidnapped and murdered, and she left 2 small children in Guatemala.
He only charged me $100 a month because he knew that before I became disabled, I was active in the community. People knew me.
He was never full because living as a 14-year-old when you're supposed to be growing and always being hungry, that always stayed with him.
I kind of saw myself wasting away, which, how you do when you don't eat. You do lose weight in a whole different way when you're not eating. She was actually born underweight. And, I worried about her. And I wonder sometimes, is that why she's had learning issues? And because I wasn't able
They said they would like to give this
to nourish her
to my mother. And I looked up at my mother and I said, if we take this, does that mean we're poor?
When he lost his building to the bank just came in, and one day I was coming in from bringing in the kids, and everything was boarded up.
Environment, poor, depressed. I think all my associates that did the same thing use it for that means to escape.
I'm not an alcoholic. I don't have a drug problem. I don't have a criminal record.
I was a 2-year-old child without a mother or a father. I couldn't help myself. And if I didn't have people to help me, I couldn't have made it.
Woke up one day, man, and I'm not trying to get spiritual on you, but I just said I'm not going to use them when it just seemed like my high power stepped in and took over.
And so there are no programs and services available for me, a person who just got wrapped up inside of the foreclosure mess with an eviction on my record.
Now, if you worked 8 hours a day and had the money, would you go to a soup kitchen and eat? They don't want to do that. They don't want to subject themselves to something like that. They don't want to subject their children to that. They'd rather go to the grocery store, buy food, and go home and enjoy it.
I can hear, all I can thinking is, my God, this is This is a paradise because over here, at least they care about each other. They have somebody come and offer food to people who don't have any.
But they've got to go home and get their children and come and stand in line and go to a soup kitchen after working those kind of hours. They're doing it because they don't make enough money. And if there's not something in the society to help them, then what are they going to do? Everybody needs help. And the people who say, I did everything myself, it's not true. Somewhere along the line, somebody reached out and gave them a hand.